Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishvaro Guratmeti Bhuti Veda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Savavedanta Sedanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satiguru Pranatoshmaham Om Shanti 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 Om. Namaste. Okay, we are back to our favorite text, Mandukya Karika. And before we begin from the first chapter all over again. Let's finish in the fourth chapter, right, Tudlin? The verse 57 says that everything is born because of ignorance, therefore nothing is indeed permanent. And why it's not permanent? Because ignorance can be removed by knowledge, right? If ignorance would not be removed by knowledge, and then this apparent reality would be a permanent thing. But it is and it's not. To begin with, it's not because it's something as good as non-existent. It's you cannot attribute something which is not really existing, such as the snake robe, as permanent or impermanent, you know? So it's just a misapprehension, a misconception, misunderstanding. So, and then furthermore, we know that there is a remedy, which is knowledge, which neutralizes this ignorance, because everything is born out of ignorance. So Maya, Brahman, via Maya Ishwara reveals the scriptures so that we can work on neutralizing that ignorance. Why to neutralize that? Because it causes discomfort. It makes us feel that we are limited by the identity of the body-mind as the body-mind, and which is sustained by the firm belief that the world is real, and therefore I have to run in the rat race, as they say in the USA, looking in the pursuit of happiness, as it says. Everything is born out of ignorance, we know. It's sustained by ignorance. That's why jivas are co-creator. But if we see that the only reality is Brahman, and then we see that there is no question of being born or dying. Brahman is timeless, it's beyond creation and destruction. It's just the substratum or the adhisthanam, or the base, the screen on which, or the mirror on which this apparent order reflects. There is no destruction because there was no creation. So we have seen it in our last class. And then Brahman Satya Jagamitya Jivu Brahma Eva Napara. So the teachings of Vedanta can be condensed in this mantra. That Brahman is the only reality, Satya is consciousness of conscious existence of limitless nature. And then upon this Brahman, Mitya is superimposed as Namarupas. And then among all the Namarupas, some Namarupas, they are sentient beings with a certain knowledge, capacity to know things and develop the free will. And among those living creatures with a good, intelligent intellect, there are rare ones who inquire into the true nature of this world as we know. And then the scriptures come to those rare few individuals, and the scripture is going to establish that you are the only reality. Mithya, the world is a mithya, is a superimposition such as a mirage. And by the way, you have, although you are integral part of mithya, you are double agent, let's say. Okay, so you are what? You are Satya and you are Mithya, but how so? So in my true, real, intrinsic nature, I am Satya because I am consciousness. In my apparent nature, I'm just a construct, a body, mind, sense construct, designed and programmed to respond to the stimulus according to my vasanas. So you have those two features about yourself, Jivatma. And if you understand your nirguna nature, nirguna atma nature as a Jiva Atma, and then you're going to understand the third aspect of the teachings of Vedanta, which is the declarations of the identity. You are that Brahman, Jiva Jiva, Brahmaiva, Napara. So it means to say the nature of the Jiva Atma is identical of the nature of Brahman. So we have Brahman as the only reality, we Jagat as an unreal apparent reality, and among the objects of Mithya appears the human Jivas, let's say, and for them, the scriptures were revealed declaring their identity as identical as Brahman. Therefore, I was planning to say that we are double agents. We have a Mithya nature and we have a Satya nature. It depends upon where we stand, our sense of identity, what we want to identify as. If we identify with our Mithya nature, we're going to live from the standpoint of Mithya, in which there is discomfort, insecurity, anxiety, and all the complexity of samsara. So this is the final teachings of Vedanta. We saw that in the seventh mantra of the Upanishad when we have seen Gaudapada expanding on the Mithya and the Satya nature, and then the Mithya nature of the world, such a nature of Brahman, and then the Mithya nature of the world. And Swami goes to the extent to say that the Mithyatva nature of the world is the most difficult message to understand. Vedantic message, Vedantic revelation to be assimilated by a Vedantic student. Gaudapada becomes obsessed in communicating this Mithya nature of this world, and to the extent that some people can't handle it, because again and again he brings those parallels, those analogies, and so on, so that we can look at it from all possible angles and understand what is this final message. This final message that this world is just an appearance. It's available for transaction. We may find some utility in the objects appearing together with us in this order of reality, this appearing order of reality. The same way we find utility in some things in the dream world. So the message is accept this superimposition, accept this mirage. You live within the mirage, you live within this projection, you live within this simulation. Some people trip believing that the simulation, AI is creating a simulation, that we are imprisoned in the simulation of AI. It has nothing to do with that. So we live within this Maya's projection, but since we are double agent, we have our Satya nature and our Mithya nature. Our Mithya nature can easily be deceived by Maya. By our Satya nature is the Adhisthanan of Maya. Therefore, we stand from that angle, and we are free of the world, although we cannot cancel the world. So it's very difficult to understand this. And Swami and our greatest guru, one of the greatest guru, comes here to make maximum effort to explain this Mithya nature of this cosmos, this universe, Gaudapada. Okay. Until now, Gaudapada emphasized Ajativada. In this verse, he emphasized my Ajativada. My Ajativada. It's the same thing. Ajativada, there is no creation, or there is, a Mitchell creation, okay? So there is an apparent creation, and when it was and how, it was created. No, we can understand that because, it is just a mirage. A mirage, on the asphalt or in a summer days in some hot place, or even a mirage of the waves in the desert, can be explained if we understand some physics laws. Huh? But the way Maya projects this is beyond any science we have, you understand, and beyond the comprehension of human intellect. And the scriptures somehow do not want to say anything about that. They just say, like, leave it alone. Just know that there is a reality we see in this apparent reality. And if you know that, you're going to be okay living in this projection. Huh? He says that both of these theories, Jativada and Maya Jativada, they are the same thing. As I said, one says that there is no creation, and the other says there is an apparent creation. So Gaudapada is now dealing with Maya Jativada in this verse. From the standpoint of Maya, the world seems to be born just like a dream appears to be born from the standpoint of the dreamer. Again, keeps going back to the example of the dream states. I mean, we can't help but to go there to understand it clearly. So, and we question any such reality. We see the duality, experiencer and experience. There are so many proofs that we cannot trust sensory experience. And we cannot even trust all the knowledge extract from sensory experience, which is scientific knowledge based on sensory knowledge and inference draw from those sensory experience. So we cannot trust any of that. And then we are at a loss. You see, and then so what? So and then I don't know. So and then we need to slowly but surely to develop appreciation and Shraddha in the scriptures as a means of knowledge which was not created by anybody, but it was created for human beings highly developed, human beings inquiring into the true nature of this universe, spiritually inquiring, not scientifically. Scientists never get to succeed because they are looking for phenomena. We talk about spiritual Vasana people who wants to find the true nature of this universe, which cannot be found objectively by analyzing phenomenal world objects. So whatever is born out of ignorance, as we have said, is not permanent. Gaudapada seems to be contradicting himself when he says that the world being temporary. Really speaking, the world is not temporary. So the world is just non-existent. We cannot establish that the snake robe is temporary or not temporary because, it was not there to begin with. Huh? We cannot establish that the dream world is temporary or temporary. We see in the dream because upon awakening, we discovered that was non-existent. Okay, it's not something that could be classified as temporary or untemporary, permanent or impermanent. As long as the ignorance continues, the rope will appear as the snake, and the ignorant person is here told that when the knowledge of the rope comes, the snake disappears. The snake is born out of ignorance. That is the key. This is one of the most beautiful analogies, the most profound to be contemplated upon deep Jijjasana from that standpoint. This is Vedanta meditation. We talked about Upasana in the Gita, 6th chapter. it should lead us to this kind of upasana, which is described, referred to as nididhyasana. Contemplate on these teachings, contemplate on these analogies, on these examples, until it becomes clear the mithya nature of this world. It's fundamental. If you don't understand the mithya nature of this world, you're going to have a hard time to accept the third part, which your mithya nature is identical to your real nature, as such as consciousness, as Brahman. You need to understand what is mithya nature. And we have the teachings pointing to that. And among all the examples, analogies, and metaphors, we have this one, the snake robe, among many others. They are very profound. After knowledge, there is no snake. The snake was just an appearance. Thus, the snake cannot be called temporary or permanent because there was never a snake at any time. Similarly, after knowledge, after self-knowledge, after knowledge in respect to the true nature of the cosmos, the knowledge that everything is only Brahman appearing according to the superimposition of Namarupas, appearance superimposition of Namarupas, and then it is realized that there is no such a thing as the world, just a mirage-like project. I love the mirage-like project. I'm very fixated with this one. I use it more than Swami Paramahansa does, okay? Because it is beautiful. This word is what? It's a projection, it's a superimposition, it's a reflection. So what is the best example of that? Oh, it's a mirror, but another reflection is a projection. A mirror is a reflection, and the oasis is a projection due to some physics condition of the atmosphere. So we have this apparent projection that seems to be so real. These namarupas, they seem to gain tangentiality, at least at the macro level. We look at this and we see, wow, 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 wow. But when we scientists start looking at the micro aspects of matter, and then we see that matter is not as tangible and real as we have imagined, But on the macro level, we fall for it. We fall that there is really something such as to be called the world, the cosmos, the universe. We cannot destroy the world. The people who believe that you have to destroy the mind, you have to destroy the world, none of this is absolutely real. You cannot destroy something which is as apparent as the world itself. So no need to destroy the mind, no need to destroy thoughts about the world, and you cannot furthermore destroy the world because only Maheshwara knows how to hold that projection in place to deceive all the jivas for whatsoever reason. We don't know. Scripture do not tell us why. You cannot destroy the world. You cannot destroy samsara. You can just destroy the belief, the attribution of reality to the world, which creates samsara. There is no really samsara. There is no really world. But I'm suffering. Yes, ignorance is very painful. You remember that story of the guy, he was living in a madhouse, and he was taken there because he had a paranoia. He was afraid of birds because he developed a sense of identity as a worm. Now I say, no, I'm a worm, sou uma minhoca, Felipe? He was observing that the birds were eating these creatures, and he did not want to get out of his room. And then after years of treatment, he learned with great help of great gurus that he was a human being and not a worm. And then the last moment when he was going to be released from the madhouse, they asked him, go, you are free now. Your paranoia, this wrong sense of identity is destroyed, it's gone, just go. And then he said, the last moment, he said, no, I can't go, but why not? Because I learned that I'm not a worm, but the birds may not know it. Maybe they're still under the belief that I am a worm. So how can we destroy this ignorance? Okay, so we can destroy by knowledge, and knowledge sometimes it's hard to be established because of hardwired, deep, entrenched ignorance, such as the ignorance of this person who was still from believing that he may know. Now I know I am a human being, but the birds may be considering that I'm an eatable worm, you know? I mean, the ignorance can be so creative, huh? Amazing. But it's non-existent. Those entities which are born in this manner are not born in reality. Their birth is comparable to illusion, and that illusion does not exist. It's more of the similar concept. All things and beings which are born in this manner due to avidya. So all those entities which are born in this manner is, the previous verse says that everybody is born out of ignorance, self-ignorance. So we only are born due to ignorance of the true nature, because if we are ignorant of the true nature of a disappearant world, and then what happens? It happens that I'm no longer interested to participate in this game, you know, of chasing things which are not real. So this ignorance is what brings us here. All entities that are born due to this ignorance are not really born. Their birth is comparable to illusion, and that illusion does not exist. Verse 58. The illusion does exist, and that's why we suffer. But we could say that it is unnecessary suffering. So what do you think? It's necessary or unnecessary suffering? It's difficult to tell. Only Ishvara knows why we have to suffer so much, even after we heard the teachings for a few years and so on. Why we have to suffer so much? Is it necessary? It is unnecessary, but seems to be necessary, because for as long as we have this sense of limitation, this sense of dissatisfaction, of inadequacy, and so on, we are going to keep searching for a way out, or we're going to keep searching a way to remove that bad experience. You know, that uncomfortable, painful experience. Samsara is pain. Samsara is discomfort. As long as we are suffering, anybody who is a certain degree of intellectual good degree should understanding, if I am suffering, I should not go back trying to control my experience in Mithya, but I should go and inquire more and more into this world, the nature of this world, in the lights of the teachings of the Upanishads, because I understood to a certain degree. I still feel a little bit helpless, but I have no other way. I'm not going to go back to the world trying to control, manipulate, or complain to God all the time, you know. So it's an illusion, and the illusion is not existing at all. So I'm suffering. And it seems to be a necessity, because suffering gets people to move. Suffering sometimes is good. Right, Mark?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. It's like a production, magic show done by Maya, the greatest magician. The things produced by magicians come and go. Similarly, the world is due to the cosmic magician, Mr. Maheshwara, as is stated in Dakshinamurti's Totram. To him who, like a magician or even like the great yogi, displays by his own power this universe, which at the beginning is undifferentiated, like the sprout and the seed, they don't appear. You don't see the sprout and the plant in the seed. It is undifferentiated in the beginning, as we know, but which is made again differentiated with several names, forms, and parts. Let's say partless. It appears as a universe made of so many parts. So the seed is not made of parts, and the seed is a good illustration of Brahman as one without any other differentiation. But out of the tree comes what? Comes the sprout, comes the plant becomes a tree, and then out of the tree comes even more seeds later on. All this diversity of aspects of that which was undifferentiated seed appears to be differentiated. The same thing is the world. The world appears to be a plurality of infinite parts, a variety of parts. Made again differentiating under the variety conditions. We need certain conditions for the seed to sprout and grow, and Mark knows it better than any of us here. And space and time posed by Maya. To him, the great Maheshwara, the greatest magician of the preceptor, the blessed Dakshinamurti, may his obeisance be. Verse number 2. Wonderful, beautiful. Very beautiful. Ishvara is Brahman plus Maya. This is a nice. I'm start from where we stopped. Really, I'm doing okay, or I went too far back? No, okay. Ishvara is Brahman plus Maya. This is a good statement. We have Brahman once Maya, which is integral part of Mithya, superimpose itself on Ishvara, on Brahman, on consciousness. Maya is that. It's at the border, okay? The border. We talk a lot about border, opening the border, closing the border. There is a border between Sach and Mithya. There is a border between Brahman and Mr. Maya, the territory of Maya, the space-time of Maya. So Maya is the beginning. It's the seed of Mithya. So what is Ishvara? Is Brahman plus Maya. So when Maya appears, this power appears immediately. We have what? We have the creator, the intelligent cause of this universe, okay? And then what Ishvara is going to do with this intelligent power is going to need some more other materials, such as Rajas and Tamas. And then he's going to play with the other two energies that emerge in the Prakriti of Maya, and then he's going to play some energy from Rajoguna and some raw material from Tamoguna, and then they create the subtle elements, and from there, the world of plurality emerged. So Ishvara is Brahman once Maya wakes up and brings about the intelligent cause of the universe, of the apparent universe. Brahman alone projects this universe by its magic power called Maya. So we have to understand Brahman does not do anything. Brahman allows this projection to take place within itself. Even when it's said that the world is a magician's projection by Brahman through Maya, it seems that two things are now accepted. It seems that reality is duality, Brahman and Maya. Gaudapada says that Maya Shakti is also as real as the Mithya world. So Gaudapada makes a clear point, a point that I like to present again and again now in my teachings and my expositions, that Maya Shakti is as unreal as Jagata. So we have Maya Shakti, and then we have Ishvara that comes out of total knowledge, pure Sattva Guna, and then we have the three energies, and then we have the five elements, and then everything grossifies to become the physical Vyavaharika. Yeah? And then this Maya, which is the seed of the Vyavaharika, is as unreal as the world. Gaudapada said the Maya Shakti is also as real as the world, meaning to say is as unreal as the world. Okay? Maya is Mithya. Maya is Mithya. Maya does not have existence and origination. Somehow it appears to borrow apparent existence from something which is the only source of existence, which is consciousness, Brahman. It appears and is experienced because of Maya Shakti. The example that's given for Maya is darkness or ignorance. Is there darkness? Darkness is experienced. And it seems to be existent. The objects are covered by this darkness. What is the nature of darkness? When we really look into the nature of ignorance or the nature of darkness, it does not have a positive feature of itself, but a negative is just escape my word here. When we look into the true nature of darkness, to try to understand is absence of light, is absence of knowledge. It does not have anything substantially positive to itself. So how can you define something that can only be decided by the absence of something else? You understand? So it makes this something to be really not real. It depends on something to be even described. That's the nature of darkness, absence of light. That's the nature of ignorance, absence of knowledge. When we really investigate the nature of ignorance and darkness in the light of the teachings, that ignorance, that darkness vanishes, leaving no trace. You cannot trace it back. The destruction of a tangible existent thing should leave some remnants of itself, some trace. Oh, I killed it, or no, I burned it, so there are some ashes, there are some bits and pieces of it, but now it's no longer alive. So existence and origination of darkness cannot be established by any means, any logical means, but yet it is experienced due to the power of Maya. So therefore, Maya and the world are both of Mithya nature. So and how about Ishvara? We are talking about Maya. Sometimes we merge both in one single principle. So Maya and the world are similarly just Mithya. And the same is with Ishvara. Ishvara is one aspect of Maya, but it's again Mithya. It is pure intelligence. Oh, but it's intelligence. Yes, that's why we say that Ishvara, it has self-knowledge and knowledge of the entire Mithya universe, Mithya nature of the universe, and everything was registered in the mind of Ishvara. But what makes Ishvara a free and independent principle is what? It is self-knowledge. Is the entity made out of pure Sattva Guna that knows its true nature, knows the true nature of the universe to be just an appearance. Fundamentally, it's all consciousness. So this is an example of Ishvara, the creator, which is very subtle and rare to find somebody who understands Ishvara in that matter, although it's still integral part of Mithya. It needs to be understood as the Lord made out of pure knowledge, intelligence that sustains this appearance projection for the sake of our growth, our development. okay? And it's a principle that has self-knowledge and knowledge of everything, past, present, and future. And how so? How we say that Ishvara still is Mithya? It is a Mithya, but it's the best possible reflection of Satya, because it's pure Satvaguna, pure knowledge, pure reflected consciousness with very little inclusions of Rajas and Tamas. We don't say that Ishvara is free from Rajas and Tamas. The scriptures say that it is predominantly, highly predominantly sattvic, sattva energy. But below the line of Mithya, once we enter the realm of Maya, the things, the three energy immediately start getting mixed up. So Ishvara has some Tamas, has some Rajas, but the predominance of Sattva is such that allows it to be the best possible reflection of consciousness, producing what we call incredible knowledge, supreme intelligence.
Can you think of Ishvara as having Rajas and Tamas in seed form?
My take, I never heard Swami Paramarthananda elaborating much on this. I just see the headlines here and there. But my take is that we know that the scriptures state again and again that Ishvara is not moved by karma. It does not have any desire. It does not have any fear. It does not have any really investment in none of this. It's just the system which is kept as pure knowledge, intelligence of itself and of this Mithya universe. So it has some Rajas and Tamas, but not enough to produce any little bit of ignorance or self-ignorance. But it has enough Rajas and Tamas in order to enable this projection, which is the total knowledge, of everything, of Satya nature, of Mithya nature. It needs a certain reflecting medium. This reflecting medium is the predominant aspect of the Prakriti of Maya, which is dominated by enormous amount of Sattva-guna. Maya is the ultimate reflecting medium. We need a medium in order to have a phenomenon. We have consciousness that's the nomenon. We need something by which consciousness reflects itself. So a reflecting medium needs to contain the three energies to begin with, you understand? And then a reflection is going to take due to certain Shakti, some energies, and then it's going to produce an incredible reflection, which is very, very close or identical to pure limitless consciousness. And some Tamaguna may be there to allow this reflection. That's my take. Okay? But not enough to conceal self-knowledge and the knowledge of the entire cosmos, apparent cosmos, from the total mind of Ishvara. Sometimes I say some things which are my own takings, let's say, my own understandings, okay? Because we can't find answers to certain questions such as this one, that we are raising here. If I would live nearby Swamiji, I would bother him with questions such as this one. But now, since Mark does not go anymore to India, so I don't want to bother him. Because it's not much relevant, you understand? The teachings are there. What is really relevant are the teachings that free the jiva from self-ignorance. And then this more metaphysical, philosophical aspect is something that we enjoy because we have that kind of mind. We like to investigate also these not as relevant aspects of the teachings. No? It seems to be existing this world due to darkness, the veil of darkness or ignorance. What is the nature of darkness? When we investigate, we find out that there is no nature of any song. It was just the absence of light. Ignorance is destroyed, leaving no trace. Verse 59, out of an illusory seed, a similar sprout is born. Did we look into this one? Out of an illusory seed, a similar sprout is born. So what is the seed? The seed is the macrocosm causal body of the universe, or Ishvara. So Ishvara holds the entire knowledge, is the intelligent cause of the universe. So it's the seed. So similarly, like the sprout, the plant, and the tree, out of the seed called Ishvara, the world appears. This world is neither eternal nor destructible. You cannot destroy something that is not there to begin with, and it's neither eternal or temporary. This logic has to be extended in the same manner in the case of all entities. So he's talking about all entities. In the previous verse, he said that all entities born out of ignorance, they were never born at all. They appear to be born due to the power, illusory power of Maya. And now he's saying, out of this illusory seed, Maya, a similar sprout is born. So the sprout would be the subtle, the Hiranyagarbha, the knowledge, the subtle universe of everything which contained as the mind, the total mind. It's neither eternal nor destructible. This logic needs to be extended in the same manner in the case of all entities. No entity is sprout after out of an egg. Well, there was no birth. Let's see what Swam says about this one. Gadapada makes a short comment on the word myopamam of the previous verse. He refers to a magician trick in which a sprout and the plant comes from a magical seed in a short period of time. Similarly, this world is a magical creation by Ishvara. The magical tree is not really existent. This world is neither permanent nor impermanent because the world is really not there at all, the same concept. The entire world is a mystery, and the more it is probed, the more mysterious it becomes. When we are engaged in that question, that inquiry into the nature of Maya, in Ishvara, if it has some Tamaguna. So the more we want to probe into understanding the base of Maya, Ishvara, the more mysterious everything becomes. And it's not absolutely relevant, even when we, as far as self-knowledge, it serves to sharpen our minds, of course. It's not totally relevant because we can never really affirm with certainty, and the scriptures usually do not go there. Scriptures usually say, don't try to understand this creation because it is not really there. The only way you're going to understand all of this is by understanding the analogies and metaphors we present to you in respect, based on your own experience of several phenomenal objects and experience. And then you understand that there are several things that are available for experience, but they are not real. And what is the importance of establishing this understanding? Because as long as I attribute reality to this meteor world, I'm going to be bound to the world, trying to find happiness in the world by manipulating my parabada, manipulating the field of experience, controlling, trying to control, manipulate my experience, and so on. So we're gonna suffer. So therefore, what is most relevant in these teachings is to understand that I am the only reality, consciousness. I don't know how Maheshwara do the trick, but I did develop enough maturity to understand that this meteor world, regardless of reality, appearance reality, irreality, total irreality, or reality, regardless of all of that, I have had enough experience which took me to the teachings of the Upanishads to understand that I will never find peace, satisfaction, and happiness by gaining anything of this world. And that is the most relevant turning point in one's life. And then we turn to what? To the scriptures that promise us that if we inquire into the true nature of reality, you will find out that you are the only reality. The whole world is you, consciousness. And there is nothing to be concerned as consciousness. You are beyond permanent and impermanent. The world appears within you, and all Namarups appears and disappears in a sequence of projections in which nothing remains the same from one moment to another. The entire world is a mystery, and the more we probe into it, more mysterious it becomes until we give up, because we are not here to become great philosophers. We are here to gain self-knowledge and be free. When it's said that avidya is the cause of the universe, it's only a philosophical presentation. Now comes Swami, bringing the metaphysical and the practical, empirical aspect of the teachings. When we say that this ignorance is the cause of the universe, is on the philosophical presentation. It really means that the answers to the nature of the universe cannot be known. So we cannot know why this universe appears and in such a convincing manner, and gave us the impression that we, by transacting in this meteor world, we can find a permanent happiness. So when we say that ignorance is the cause, it's only on a philosophical presentation, but I take the liberty to edit it a little bit, because there is an empirical aspect to it as well. Okay, so there is a certain ignorance in respect to where is a treasure. I was with my grandfather. He was about to die, and then he told me, I will tell you my secret. I left a treasure with millions and millions and millions of dollars. And it's there in your land. Your land is small, it's only 2 acres. And I'm going to tell you exactly where it is. And then he dies, and he does not tell me where the treasure is. So if I know exactly where this treasure is, I'm not going to waste my entire life digging all over the place in the world trying to find this treasure. So the ignorance of where this treasure is contained is going to make me dig all over. Let's say that it's 20 acres. It's impossible to find this treasure. The ignorance in respect to where this treasure is, okay, is going to make me bound, digging all over the place. Therefore, this ignorance has a certain experiential element to it, okay? And this is going to keep me going. So, and then I'm going to have another burst to come back to what? To continue looking for happiness in a place in which this happiness is not available. Happiness is contained only in my Satchitananda nature. It really means that the answers to nature, the nature of Mithya universe cannot be known. In the case of all those entities which are unborn, Brahman, the word, permanent or impermanent, cannot be applied. Distinction cannot be maintained with regard to an entity where words cannot function. We cannot use words to describe something that's beyond intellectual comprehension. All these entities which are unborn Brahman, the word permanent do not apply, cannot be applied. We cannot distinguish between permanent and impermanent to an entity because there are no words to describe the Mithya nature of this universe. There are no words to describe even the Satya nature of this universe. There are words only to describe the physical appearance nature, scientific nature of this world of matter and energy. There are many words that are going to describe. But there is no words, there is no knowledge can really pinpoint, the nature of this world as permanent or impermanent. In the previous verse, the magic example was given. This universe is also a magic show displayed by Maya Ishwara. You cannot give any description of the world. You cannot say it is permanent. You cannot say if it was originated and created or not created, if it's there, anything you want to know about the world. So it is an effort that may serve a certain purpose to take you to the Upanishads, and the Upanishads will relax. Just know it to be a snake rope. There is nothing to be concerned. You cannot say that the world is there or it's not there. If you go deeper and deeper, inquiring into the questions, you become a philosopher, and you never find a true answer. Because as it was mentioned here recently, or in another, on the Gita I'm doing with my Portuguese student, philosophy is a blind person looking for a black cat in a dark room in which the cat is not. So you'll never find it. You'll look for reality in the unreal world. You're gonna look for logic that sustains this apparent reality. Whereas the very term apparent reality, it's meaning to say that it's not real. And if it's not real, what is the point of trying to find the logic that sustains it? Answers can be given just to satisfy the human intellect here and there. All spiritual religious people, they need to satisfy or pacify the intellect with some simple answers. Okay, so we see the spiritual world is like the pyramid is a very good thing. At the bottom, you see the mass of people just trying to pacify their minds with simple concepts that is going to give them consolation. Okay, very simple ones. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's the whole, that's the virtue of starting with something like Tattva Bodh. Just figure out a version of the world that will serve you.
Yeah.
I love that story about the buried treasure. I hadn't heard that lesson before. It's great.
Yeah, I just made it up. As Ishwara puts those stories in my mind when I'm doing this. Superficially, some answers can be given. However, cause and effect cannot always be correlated because Gaudapada has destroyed causality. Yeah? There are many things that cannot be explained. All the things and beings of this world which are really not born, but really are only consciousness of Brahman cannot be described as permanent or impermanent, among many other descriptions that have to be abandoned when the individual becomes more mature and prepared for the final teachings of Vedanta, Adhyaropa and Apavada. Existent or non-existent is something that needs to be left behind, and when you come to that level of teaching. Superficially, the objects of the world seem different, but the difference is difficult to explain. No description can be given to the world. It is anirvakanyaya, Maya, indescribable, beyond understanding. But if we understand the adhisthana on which this world is superimposed, in which all namarupas are apparently configured, and then if we claim that adhisthana to be our true nature, the only reality, and then finally enough, we can have another view of the world and not suffering from the samsara problem. Superficially, the objects of the world seem to be different. But let's see if Swami, I would love to see Swami expounding a little bit on this one. This is something that would make a beautiful, profound philosophical satsang, because he has a lot of knowledge. He likes to go here and there in some scientific observations. And here he's just present to us that the world seemed to be made of numberless parts, and the parts are all different. But the difference cannot be explained. So how can you explain the difference between this and that? And most probably, he knows something about that. Let's hope that he mentioned something, some more philosophical debates from some of these crazy Mahatmas that establish that there is no difference at all in Namarupas. It appears to be different, but there is no difference. If we keep inquiring into this quest, we can come to the point of understanding that everything is just the subtle elements or the three energies. They appear to be forming themselves differently, developing attributes, but somehow everything boils down to the three gunas, the three energies, or the subtle elements. So how you explain this difference? You cannot explain this difference, but they seem to cause numberless different namarupas. Okay. Tomorrow we carry on from the following paragraph. There are some very nice passages here. Swamiji presents some good inquiries here for our enjoyment tomorrow. Anything from you guys?
I was wondering if Swami Paramahansa had done a commentary on Dakshinamurti Strotum, because this is a beautiful text as well.
Yeah.
We could actually look at that text next.
Yeah.
It's fairly short,
Yeah.
but it's beautiful.
Yeah. I'm looking several of these short texts, because I'm supposed to pick up one for my students in Brazil to do some translation. for our next seminar during Carnival 2025. So I'm gonna be looking to those a few texts, including this one. Thank you, Mark. There is the transcription. I'm gonna post it in our WhatsApp group. There is a transcription of some Paramahansa on this text, okay? So Lynn seems to know that she found it. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Om. Namaste. Till tomorrow, Ishvara willing. Thank you.
Thank you, Orlando.
Thank you, Felipe.
Thanks, Arlindo.
Felipe has stayed very quiet today. Sylvia, I cannot say that because she's beyond words and no words. She is the additional. Okay, Felipe, namaste for everyone.